So as you can tell, I'm already started drilling out the spot welds on the driver's side front here on the 2022 Mustang, and I gotta say it's not that bad. I'm glad I decided to tackle this myself because the strut towers and everything like that is in place. The main frame rail is perfectly straight. It's all squared. I've remeasured it 10 times just to be sure. So I've already drilled this section out, and basically the way I did it is it's gonna have original spot welds. As far as you can see it here, there's gonna be a few welds here on the inside which are gonna be seam sealed and stuff like that. And then on top of that, I know the factory doesn't use seam sealer on this type of panel here, but I am gonna go ahead and put some seam sealer everywhere just to make it stronger than OEM. That's just how I like to do things. And then the bracket that holds the horns, I believe, right here, I actually drilled that out too. And I left the reinforcement on for now because, as you remember, I purchased a complete front clip off a 2022 Mustang GT, which kind of sucks because it has the 5.0 badges, and when you remove those, there's going to be two little holes, but that's okay because I could patch those holes. The whole front clip's going to have to be repainted along with the blend on the both passenger and driver side doors, so that's not a problem. But it's light. Next day here, and as you can see, I got the piece drilled out last night in the rain. I just couldn't wait any longer. I had to get it out, and check this out. I actually got the car sitting back on its wheel, just make sure it's all settled and all the pressure in the tires is all the same. 35 psi is what I did. Make sure the car sat overnight back on its suspension and settled in. Now I've got the piece in temporarily. I've got a few self-tappers holding it in place. I've got these brackets here also self-tapped back in place on both sides. Everything lines up perfectly. The level is 100% perfect here, and then I wanted to make sure that the frame rails are good and they're perfect. Point, I was going to go ahead and put the hood on and the fender, make sure everything lines up, but I don't see a point in that. That sounds like a waste of time because everything lines up, everything's level. Most of the spot welds line up perfectly. Some of them don't, because I believe in the factory they don't put them exactly in the same place on every single car, is what it looks like to me. Most of them actually lined up 100%. There was a few on these little brackets that didn't, but most of them here are 100% lined up. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and remove it. I marked all the spot welds where they're gonna be, and I'm gonna put some panel bond, but only in places where I'm not welding. Like I'm gonna put some here, 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 and just go all the way around. Although panel bond is not really needed because the factory didn't use it. All they did was spot weld it, and as far as seam sealer, there was no seam sealer anywhere here, which I may or may not use, maybe like in sections like this. You can see they use some over here, and some of the seam sealer, which is pretty ugly. This is a factory seam sealer here, same thing on the other side. But I know in the 2024 and up Mustangs, I wonder if they forgot to put the seam sealer, because now there's a recall that the fuse box on the passenger side actually gets water, and the recall is they remove the windshield wiper cowl and just basically put a blob of seam sealer. And I don't know if they forgot to do that in 24 or what, but that's what it looks like on the 22. And that's what it looks like. This is, I think, a 2018 front clip. I believe I said it was a 22, but I think it's a 2018 front clip. But as you can see, as the years went on, they put less and less seam sealer over here, and that's why the 24s are having issues. I think they forgot to completely put some over there, and on the passenger side, Actually water gets in there and gets through here, and the body control module, the main fuse box inside, is right here, so water just straight up goes on top of the fuse box, and that's the last thing you want, is water in your electrical system. And doing this section right here by myself here in the garage with, you know, basic tools is actually saving me probably at least $1,500 to $2,000, maybe even more. But it wasn't hard, it's just time consuming, drilling every single spot weld out, you know, making sure that every cut is perfect, because you don't want to cut it short, because then the piece becomes trash and you have to get another piece. But everything turned out great. Even in here, I've got a little slice in there that I can get my welder in there and just get it welded in, and then sort of, you know, put everything back together. So it's gonna look 100% perfect. Especially here, I didn't mess with any spot welds here. So when you open the hood, all you're gonna see is factory spot welds throughout here, and then there's gonna be possibly some seam sealer going along this line. And yes, I could have pulled out the original piece and make it work, but that's just not the right way to do it, especially when I had the piece already sitting outside. And this is the correct way to do it. Just put the spot welds back where they need to be, and everything's gonna line up 100%, and all dimensions are correct. So let's get to welding. Alright, so I will admit that my welds were not 100% perfect, but they're strong, and I was able to clean them up a little bit. And thanks to Seam Sealer 3000, I was able to cover up my ugly welds, and it turned out really, really good. I went ahead and put Seam Sealer everywhere the metal was exposed. That way, we're not going to have any rust issues, and all of this will be covered up by the fender liner. And the next step is, oh, I just wanted to point out that my seam sealer work is a lot better than the factory seam sealer. So just wanted to point that out real quick. And I did put a bolt through with the nut on the other side here and there, and then I put two extra pop rivets in here with the threads and all. Rivet nuts is what I was trying to say. And so this thing is 100% solid. And the next step is, oh, here's this bracket too, 100% solid. So the next step is to sand it down a little bit, clean it up, and then spray it. Don't have any paint, the Grabber blue paint that I can spray out of a gun, but I was able to find this. And this is basically Grabber blue in a can. It's for engines, so it's a super strong paint, and it's a little bit overkill for just a apron and stuff, but this was the only type of paint I could get in this color, so I'm gonna try this out. I did spray a little bit outside on the original apron, and turns out it's basically exact match. The only downside is you know, from the factory, the paint on the underhood and stuff like that is not glossy, and this will be a little bit more glossy than original, but it's okay. At least it's gonna be all the same color. So right here is where I sprayed the paint out of the can, so it's basically an exact match and a little bit more glossy than I like, but that's okay. I'm gonna have to live with that. That's the only way I can paint that in and start assembling the front end. Got it all covered up, sand it down, wax and grease removed. So as you can see, I taped it like that. The goal is not to have like a hard paint line, because all of that's going to be exposed. So that's my attempt to do that. I've seen people do it and succeed, but we'll see how it goes. So now it's just time to lay some paint. Crazy how this is the exact same color as Grabber blue. So if you have a Grabber blue Mustang or any other car, this is your paint. Ford Blue DE1601. Perfect match. Man, that turned out so good. That paint is what's up. It lays down so good. I did about 3 coats, used up a whole can, and then realized, I'm like, man, I still gotta take the crash bar off the front clip and paint that because it's also black. Luckily I got 2 cans of paint, so 1 can should be plenty for that front rebar. But everything looks awesome. It pretty much looks original, and with the little, see, it's a little glossy here, you can tell, but with a little bit of dust under the hood and in the engine bay, it's gonna look just like OEM. I've got the front rebar painted and it's dry, ready to install. Also, the radiator and the condenser came in, but still missing the fans. They're supposed to deliver today, but with the holidays and all that, everything's being delayed a day or two. And also the hood's out here and it got sprayed on the inside along with the hinges. I was just gonna remove the hinges and spray them separately, but that's just an extra thing I gotta adjust. And if those that installed the hood with the hinges before know exactly what I'm talking about, there's just a lot of adjustment. So left the hinges on the hood originally and just spray the whole inside of the hood. I may do the same thing to the fenders as well. The reason I sprayed the inside of the hood here is because, yes, it's gonna save me a couple $100 in paint at the paint shop, and also once I install the hood with the hinges, that'll be the last time I have to remove, or I mean, that's the last time I'll be touching the hood. It does not need to be removed for any reason. So I may spray in the fenders as well, just so that way I can bolt them on, adjust the gaps, and that way the whole front end is going to get painted on the car, along with both doors being blended because of the damage from the previous fender. It kind of destroyed the door here. Also, just remember that the nipple on the reservoir tank is broken off, and nobody likes a broken nipple, so I just ordered a tank. Should have it within a day or two. So unfortunately, still missing the fans and the tank, so won't be able to run it or do a burnout probably in this video. Maybe not. So it's today years old when I found out you gotta pull the complete whole dash out of the Mustang to change the actual plastic part of the dash. And what I mean by that is on some cars you can just pull the plastic part of the dash and leave the metal framing of the dash in the car. On this one, you have to pull the complete dash, then take it apart, then put it back together. Kind of annoying. Reminds me of the Expedition that I rebuilt 4 years ago or so. It's a lot of work, but it has to be done. And also found out that this is not just a glove box, it's also an airbag. And that's why it looks like it popped. Good news is I did pick up a knee airbag for the driver's side and the steering bag. So we're almost there. Also found out that the steering column sensor blew up as well, so I'll need that. So every single thing in the SRS system that could blow in this car actually blew. Every belt, every bag, everything blew up. Awesome. But anyways, it has to be done, so let's see if the convertible top actually opens. Let's go. So I'm gonna start by pulling the seats out and getting these seat belts removed and the SRS module that's in the center console to get those shipped out and repaired and reset. So you don't really have to pull the seats to get to the seat belts and stuff, but I wanted to do that to give me extra room to work in here to get that complete dash out, and it's gonna be so much easier. Plus, when you pull the seats, you find all this cash to work with for the build, which is great. It adds up. Alright, I got the module out, got both seat belts out, ready to ship out and get them rebuilt.